of business. 2 per minute.
Third meeting of the Highway Board meeting to order. Before we do our invocation and I wanted to just make the announcement. I'm sure most of you know by now the recent passing for Commissioner Franklin, who passed away. Commissioner Franklin served this county as the District 4 OHPA Port Authority Commissioner 2010 to 2022 before retirement, and is now the seat that Commissioner Nelson. For those of you who know Carol, he was you know, very passionate about his time here on sport, serving the community, and certainly be greatly missed in the community. I had the privilege of seeing him over the last several years, whether it's the Republican Party meeting or the West Side Republican Club meeting or just chamber events and just all over the place. So please keep his wife Judy and Greg, the entire family, in your thoughts and prayers. I do want to point out I came across a very nice post that Commissioner Hill posted on social media on one of the Greg's posts regarding some very well put together and said it best. And I don't have that confidence, but I encourage you to go and take a look or Mr. Hill to share some of that later on. Once again, just keep them in your thoughts and prayers. But this time, I'll stand for communication led by Vice Chair Ray Nelson, fall out of play, led by Commissioner Michael.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity that we can gather here and do the business of the people of Nassau County. We pray that we would be focused on your guidance and direction, that we would do what you would have us to do and would be pleasing to you. Father, we do ask tonight that you would be with the Franklin family and the passing of Carol. We ask that you would comfort them in this time of sadness and grief loss. We ask that you would be with us now, watch over us and keep us in Jesus' name. Amen. Lord, we have collected to flag on. I pray to you this flag. Jesus, the power, the sense, we need you. Amen.
Commissioner Moore,
Yeah.
Commissioner Hill, Secretary Treasurer Cole, Vice Chair Nelson,
Here.
Chair Taylor. Thank you.
exciting meeting, there's some highway. Having just in your Wednesday meeting with us. At this time, I don't have any comment cards, but is there any member of the public who wishes to speak on a non-agenda item? All right. Moving down, after some changes, this item is heard from the July 9th meeting, the approval of minutes. We have June 11th, 2025, and 25th, 2020. Do we have, comments, questions, changes, satisfied?
Motion to approve, votes and 10 minutes.
Motion from Commissioner Hill. Second. We have a second from everyone else. All those in favor? Aye. Moving down to old business. Tab A, vendor replacement contract. We did receive the final version. Tim, will take this up.
Yeah, I just received this today. So, and just to note, really for the record, it's, they made all of the changes that I asked for. We have on in our files, my red line version. So that's there for anybody to see the draft. They made all of the changes except two. One was in construction contracts. I generally ask for a line of insurance coverage called builder's risk insurance. And I did put that in the contract and they pushed back because this is really just going to be an installation. The builder's risk project, when a public work is being constructed, for example, when it is in a state of disrepair and there's all kinds of equipment out there at the site, and let's say that there's some type of disaster or emergency that damages the project, damages the materials, and it's appropriate for projects, especially if they go on for weeks or months. This is not that type of a project. This is a deconstruct and put in new fenders, and they push back. It's very expensive, and it does generally pass through to the customer. So that's something they said they could get, but it would cost, it'd be added to the contract price. So I felt like they explained that the risk is really, really low for us. It's a short project. And so I have no problem that they deleted that portion. And then what was that was really the major change. And the major change, I had the arbitration provision removed from the document. So arbitration would not be considered if there were a dispute. We would do a mediation and just like, well, so that's it. Really, those are the highlights. I recommend approval of the contract so we can move forward.
What are your comments, questions?
Yes. So, separate yes, that's a letter agreement. I think we're going to take that up next. Okay, where is that?
That was received today.
Yeah.
And it was emailed to the board.
We can help them.
It's up there.
There it is. Right, that's OPA and the contractor, and Nassau Terms is, in the agreement, not as a party, just the project manager. On the screen now is the letter agreement. It's in final form. I did review the original letter. I provided back a red line version. Really, the only changes that I made in the letter had to do with the time for payment. Because of the 20 days we have to pay contractors. So that was changed. And that was pretty much it. And this is the letter that agrees to pay me for a couple of hours to review this agreement and the vendor contract. So if the board approves this, I don't have any problem with I don't think there's anything wrong with the letter at all. In terms of, it's very straightforward. The operator is the project manager. OPA is going to not have to pay when the invoices come in from the contractor. And that's what's covered in this agreement, mostly in that middle paragraph, is when the contractor sends an invoice, OPA has up to 10 days to review it and send it to the operator saying, we've reviewed it, we think it's fine, please pay that. And the operator is going to pay those invoices directly to the contractor, right? Is that true? Yeah, and then the grant monies, when they come in, and OPA receives those grant monies from DOT, then those grant monies are going to be reimbursed to the operator.
Have any comments or questions? We need to be separately.
I would,
So is the. Maybe we emailed it, but my whole
sure,
displays, I can't find the attachment. So this agreement contemplate the operators oversight of the fund,
the oversight.
because they are actually directing them day to day, so like we have.
And that is in the contract too. That's in the contract. I am almost positive, but take a moment. It's definitely in the contract language, because I just looked at it. Yeah,
That's like, sure, it's like both like the oversight as well as the.
yes.
Maybe I should notice it. So how does the mechanism function for requesting funds from the F dot or FSTED, F dot?
FDOT.
Yeah, how does that work? Well, I have a question for you. So it's obviously F dot, usually the contract operator sends funds to us. We do that thing for reports.
And then I may have just been confused on, yeah,
Because obviously for F dot, the invoices have to be paid by OHPA.
yes, and to be reimbursed, yes.
So now,
I'm sorry.
I mean, at some point, there was some payments coming from the bond trustee at one point, but it was from an account labeled OHPA.
Okay,
But as far as, yeah, the regular way the bond, the grants work is that we receive the side for the operator. They send us the funds and we remit them to the vendor. Okay, so essentially,
let me just,
because it's a contribution essentially they're making
yes, they have to,
to the equity of the Ocean Highway Corridor, actually building a building. But essentially, it goes on. Yeah, we pay 100%. Well, And then, then apply for half of it. yeah, and then that comes back, comes the money comes, obviously, not But the thing, what is the mechanism for applying?
how does DOT find out that you want the grant money?
So periodically, we prepare invoices, so and usually, what's the accounting at the, so
Oh, Mary prepares it.
Mary prepares an invoice for FDOT with the supporting documentation
Mhm.
behind it. Okay, to submit when we want a reimbursement. Or usually it's Mary that does their grants,
Mhm.
right?
And then she gives it to me and then I submit it to FDOT.
Right. It has to be signed by a commissioner, so it has to come to us, has to be signed by a commissioner. So,
Operate in the third paragraph. It says the operator agrees it will pay OPA all invoiced amounts. So the operator is, yes, sorry.
so yeah, so
Those
we're gonna send you the invoice, you're gonna remit the funds, we're gonna remit them to the vendor. And then periodically, I mean, you can do it every time you have an invoice if you want to. I don't think FDOT cares, I mean, they have to go through their own process, but they go through your date, your 5 inches, like that.
Yes.
And it's such a reimbursement request. You can submit it every 2 weeks, every week, every month, whatever. let's just talk about, I mean, in some ways, I think I feel more comfortable with OPA submitting a request for the We do.
It is.
So OPA, so that invoice is prepared by Mary, backup That's the part sent to us, so. Because obviously the invoices, the original invoices, things like that, obviously, again, why Mary does it, it's to us. Okay. Again, it's I don't wanna get bogged. it's your cash flow to decide when you want it reimbursed, so, and so. Cool.
That was done in the prior port operator. Remember Rhonda, she did the
Yeah, I mean,
invoices.
I think historically, I think something where y'all are watching what it's saying.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, yes, yeah.
okay, I don't wanna, but anyway, I don't wanna bog.
So OPA provides the invoiced amounts to the operator and the operator pays those amounts to OPA.
Well, it's whoever, and obviously the vendor sending the invoice to either the operator or to us.
To
Obviously,
us.
it has to be titled overtime report.
It does,
If they send it to us, obviously, we send it to the operator, let them know, and then they said,
exactly. Yep, so that's in
Yeah,
there.
depending on-
Payment and oversight.
yeah, depending on the size of the invoices done by ACH or by wire, depending or by check. Again, it's depending on the size of the invoice, which is, so,
Most of the time it's ACH.
yeah, ACH is obviously depending on wire for the outline.
My guess is there won't be that many.
Right,
this
yeah, it's
particular
not the
project,
trucks, so-
right.
Well, this one, we talked about this before. I've gotta get the first design invoice in, push through so we get off the quote bad list.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, and also the ordering of parts. There's
Yes.
a few months. So yes, that to answer Commissioner Hill's question, very long answer is yes. This covers payment and oversight.
Chair,
Thank you.
Chair, just to be clear, this is a letter agreement with Relay for the operator. I do not have a final draft of the contract.
Okay,
You sent me the red line one. So is that,
there were two attachments.
you just sent it to me today? Oh,
Yeah, when I
got it.
sent it.
I got it. I didn't open it, sorry.
That's okay. I wanted to make sure that it could be signed if.
Hmm,
or-
okay.
Or acting, we'll take this one time, so we'll start with the professional services agreements.
Maybe have the set the construction service contract.
Motion from Commissioner Watt,
Okay, second.
and a second from Mr. Paul. Any further comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. And now entertain a motion for the letter agreements between Nassau Terminals LLC, the business three-way terminals, and the Ocean Power for the Nassau County.
Looking at we read the letter. Yes,
Here we have a motion from Commissioner Paul. Second from Commissioner Watt. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Tab 8B, the revenue distribution and sharing the revenue and soft criminals. Taking the communication. Still, maybe we have that in that. We do have to look for that.
I don't. I think I did have a phone call with her earlier this week, and my understanding is that they're having a meeting. So by the next meeting or before that, I should have something for sure. But an update publicly at the next meeting and whatever I can get, share.
I said, I didn't see the Better American House, the new location, you know, reviewing street options, of where to move the warehouse. You didn't, I know you didn't have a, we're gonna kind of put eyes on it, you from here,
Yeah.
where are we with that?
Yeah, so just hear me out here. So if you were to make to scale in this map, a 22,000 square foot warehouse, it wouldn't be one of these yellow blocks. So we're really looking at a couple different locations. They're not nothing crazy. I'm just looking at where there's a lot of variables. So there's traffic flow, like our traffic flow with our trucks. There's outbound traffic flow ingress and egress. There is looking forward to other business that could arise. So I'm trying to kind of plan forward here and look for the very best place for it. And then it's just taking a lot of collaboration with internally with Travis's team, our customers, our business development guys. So yeah, I assure you I'm not BSing it here. It's just I'm working through the options. There really isn't a lot of great options. There's places to put it, but when you think about how it actually flows, I'm looking for the best use of the port. And then also leaving myself enough room to expand. And then furthermore, if we do, if we do get lucky enough to be awarded some sort of grant to do some fixes on this terminal, whatever that may be, we'll talk about that later. We're going to need the space to do that as well. So in the last variable is flooded as well. So you take out flooded area, the area is prone to flooding, and then you look, we got to move the warehouse. And there are a couple of places you can put it. And so if you would allow me to hard like actual maps, to scale maps by the next meeting for discussion, would that be appropriate?
Yeah, so again, thinking back to, what I was doing before, a lot of these variables that here now, I don't remember coming up at those meetings, when we did approve the location.
Right.
But and I know that it was moved to take into account some of those variables. And now I'm taking a hard look at it. We need to do it right. Want to make sure we do it right. But we also need to take into consideration what's before. But yeah, we'll need something to scale by that.
Right, because we talked about, okay, the timing, the commercial side of it, how do we move customers out into the building, and how do we move things around? And then, I had one of our guys starting to give me some hypothetical layouts. When you put it in scale and put it, in my mind, okay, it's yellow boxes. And then when we actually lay it on that pad, it's much bigger, right? And I just tell you, the flow of the terms is very important to them. How the cargo gets in and out, and road trucks. We don't block other activity, but really I'm looking towards the future. I don't want to put ourselves literally in a corner where we can't service the business as well.
Um, we can have that within our next meeting is, we'll get to our next meeting, but, like that, 4 minutes of having a couple of these. How soon will it take you to put something together?
Could we say a week from today?
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just so we're clear, where you see the box number one went through an engineering process. And anybody that knows that toward out there knows that that location where the number one box is the highest point on that chart. So I was there for 12 years. We never had flooding in that zone, so I don't know where that's coming from. Fabric warehouse as it's constructed right now has a siding in about where it stops and look number one. So you can utilize the north, the south, and the west side of that fabric warehouse. So I'm not getting why he's saying that they're gonna back themselves in the corner. That was presented to this board, and the board approved that location. That's where it needs to be. We don't need to be going backwards and reinventing the wheel. That's my opinion.
That's how I thought. I realize that's the tenor that we've had in the last couple of meetings, but I assure you that's not what I'm trying to do.
I simply knowing that terminal as well as I do. I mean, that was a bad idea. So you can only go down from there unless you put it where it was engineered, it was presented to this board. We looked at it. We went out there, some of us went out there.
Right, the location of this warehouse is what's got it's all in the hall. And so what I want to present to you is at scale drawing. I'm not saying that I'm not trying to do anything unorthodox here.
I mean, it sounds to me like, well, if we put it there, we won't be able to utilize it efficiently. But I attention, you got 3 doors, roll up doors in that fabric warehouse. So you can utilize it. And it can be done expeditiously. It won't hold up your operation. Right now, you're not using that side. It's not being used.
Swap the card. Yeah, we run a center aisle down.
That's right. That's exactly what you
So theoretically, it's a majority of that space. It's not small, 63 inch space. But they just use the side door and you just have to maneuver inside there to get to your carpet. So, I mean, I think that's not, it could work. That should be one of the things that comes back to us. But then if we have another idea, bring her,
You could also run another one. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to, yeah, I'm trying to do this right. It's,
it's hard to tell. Let's see the scale. Just, shape up of it. But we should get as close to what was originally approved. I mean, ultimately, it was approved. Again, that's approved, so, uh, uh, there were either excited to be done to show that that would work. But yeah, get us some, you know, designs, to scale,
that's
coming
like,
from today, that we got to talk about.
Chairman,
Yes.
my concern is, and it's pretty basic, but, my understanding is that the site selection with many factors, including negotiation discussions with the port operator, also with the community as a whole, of the historic district. That was the place that was agreed to by all parties, including the port operator. Now, we're hearing that maybe that's not the best location, but that doesn't take into consideration our previous negotiations and discussions with the people in the store.
I hear you.
And I do want to point out, it's something, Ted, you were here then, and so just like I predates Push and More, like I said, predates you, and so you're here with different view, different vision. I understand it. But again, that's part of that time, this was approved. Hopefully, we can take a strong look at getting back. Any other comments or questions, you know?
Yeah, I agree that it's been a long time, I understand why we went. And, I mean, this is what we approved. So I appreciate that you want to give us more than this for the size of the actual warehouse, but I don't understand. Here we are, 2 months after, we should have had the revised application. It seems like we're dragging our feet because
I'm not right.
we don't want to do it, it's just a lot of work.
Well, I'm ready to go. Well, I mean, again, the date was October 1st, that we had set. That this would be really, that was what we agreed on, so, it doesn't really change that, that fact, the sooner the better, of course. But I do think it would be nice to have that actual layout, like where you were taking the movement, because then we can turn around and say, this is exactly where.
Right.
And,
I mean,
where.
1 week from now, you don't have it from them, then hold me to task.
Travis said, okay,
Just want to add these thoughts, right? While this is not to scale, operation speaking, or running trucks and out where on the 60 foot, making turns, really north or south that way, it would be difficult without getting in and out. We are working on certain ideas operationally, that I think honestly, when we get to that point, then it's you to scale, and I'll take full heat on the reason why I don't have. But I'm telling you, what we're looking at right now is opportunities, something that I think will appease operations. One will be to the board and the negative. I really think, Mr. Morales, I think we promise you, I know it's another generation, but I think it's going to bring good. I want to offer that.
So I was a code enforcement special magistrate for a little while, And when the code enforcement people come and knock on your door, which anyone who lives in the city's had happen at some point, they will give you time, and this is a code enforcement issue, right? Because it's an unpermitted structure. They will give you time if you could illustrate the work you've been doing to make progress. So you would say, on this date, I called this vendor to come and over. I have called these 2 different vendors. Here are the emails where I've tried to get quotes. None of them have returned calls. And so if you can put that evidence forward, usually code enforcement will say you're making reasonable effort to come into compliance. It has to be done by this date. Is that something you're prepared to offer? And like what you guys have been working on?
Well, hold on, yes, that, I will say that one to change a couple of different things, and then does take it out of the from property line, moves out. I don't wanna just see me, and I'm sorry, I don't want to be disrespectful, I was thinking where I would talk to you to be very different. But it's not unfortunate right now.
Yeah, so my point in bringing that up is just that it very well could be a code enforcement issue. So I'm not the judge and jury today, and I'm willing to give it to the week. I think that's reasonable as a board member. But we should all be aware that code enforcement may not be so inclined.
Yes, I.
And if that does happen, that should be an obligation of the operator. If there's fines that approve, if you can't show evidence of like what you've been working on to come into compliance, that's what will happen. So just if you're aware, on the record, you will have to provide that to code enforcement.
I mean, we're basically saying separate. Any assurances or?
Save your insurance, no. I mean, I don't know what else I can say. I'm sure.
Well, I was going, we're given a week, and we've got either, you, Travis, we're gonna have, a draft to scale of what this will look like. And it needs to be as close as possible to what we approved, before. But we need this, then we can turn around and say, and it's moved, it's relocated to the spot. We know this is what everybody agreed on, and this was, and so.
I'm sorry, no one wants this to go away more than me. Like we all want this to go away. Like I assure you all.
It is how we get there. Just
Yep.
to get there. So when we, then we have a, a new, 2-scale design.
Yeah, just
Yes.
add something to that. The operator doesn't know what this board has had to go through with getting with the folks that live around the fort there. The last set of management personnel that was at Savage, now it's Relay. It's not setting with the community, and they're there. It's not setting well with them because it looks like a stall tactic. This should have already been rectified, and we should have been on to something bigger and better. But to sit here and the chair is already granted a week, I just don't think it's going to change anything.
Well, I just want to say, utilize, I can't create anything. It's a
Well,
collective
you discussed
discussion.
it for a week. And as the Commissioner Hill said, it's been 2 months. I mean, let's go back and look at the records. How long have we been talking about this? It just goes on. It's like the never-ending story. It just keeps going on, and to me, there has to be a cutoff. There has to be a definitive, put it where it was designed, where it was engineered, where it was approved. That's the bottom line, Mr. Chairman.
And Chairman, I would be satisfied with just additional information about, the efforts that, I know they've gone through efforts, I know they are looking at traffic flows. I do believe that. I would just like to see some evidence of, you know, what you guys have been working on, and that would be good faith. That's
Okay.
fine. And so I think it's totally reasonable to provide extra time. You just have to have some.
Moving on to tab 8B, listing agreements, where the property we currently have listed. The agreement, expires on August 5th. I know, Bill Griffin's here. Bill's gonna come to the podium, we're gonna talk about thoughts with that, but I also thank you for the effort. Hopefully, first off, the effort in the discussion that we've had to go through just to get to the listing, and then, of course, listen, get it. Uh, it's,
Nothing to worry about. Well, we got about a week ago. I hope I'm behind the 10 thing, not in front of it, but, if we could, yeah, if you'd like to decide what you'd like to do, I'd like to offer to reduce the price to 750 and extend the listing. I think that's more market rate. The residential housing market has been going sideways and slightly downhill for about 8, 9 months now. I don't anticipate it's going to get any better. I would say that it's easier, but it's not. If you look at the newspaper and see what happens in Fernandina Beach, builders, developers, they got to take the risk that they bring in a site plan to Fernandina Beach and get it turned down and get sued by the neighbors. And I think you've all read the paper and see what happens. So I've talked to a number of builders, developers. They've all said the same thing. My God, that's a high price. It's going to max out at 750 to 800 for a final product. If I pay close to 300 for the house, I got money left for profit, not even counting the risk and the time factor. And so the market a year ago, when it was at its peak, was about 230, 240 for those lots. We actually brought in one offer for 265, and it was rejected because it wasn't all 3 lots at the same time. It'd almost be easier to sell them off one at a time and get the most price for it. So I'd recommend going that way. If we were to sell the furthest lot and you just got the $250,000 for that lot, you still have the 2 left. If you change your mind and don't sell the other 2, you got opportunities. But if you don't want to sell it, I understand. We just write it out for a week and move on. But if we're going to get serious about selling it, we should get to closer to market price that I recommend, 750 rather than 850. And here to answer any questions again.
questions or comments for Bill?
If you're willing to extend some kind of lower the price, you're willing to do that.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we can get it done in shorter time than that. If we had the right asking price.
You see with that, lower price,
All right, we have a
6 months.
okay. So we have a motion to reduce the sale price to 750 and extend for an additional 6 months. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion?
So Chairman, I met this week and I was gonna work back with the folks from the TPO who are contacted to provide a traffic study for the truck doing issue along Date Street. And as we looked at that intersection, they were very interested in the status of those lots and understanding, what those lots could be, how those lots could be utilized to address traffic issues in line of sight. And when they sell it for sale sign, they're like, why would OHPA ever sell? But I mean, every outside consultant that comes to the board, every official, all of the outside folks that come and visit the board comment on why would we sell that land. And if you look at online, look on the Profit Breakers website, all of our industrial neighbors are all acquiring more residential lots. They are keeping them zoned residential. And they are not developing them because they know that that protects their industrial use, their existing footprint. And so I appreciate Mr. Griffin coming to present. He is a marquee real estate broker within our community. I've worked with him on other matters. I think we're very lucky that he has offered himself for a contentious listing. But when this was originally approved by the board, the use of the funds was never identified. And it's not fiscally responsible for a public body with such limited existing footprint and so many operational constraints. It's not fiscally responsible for us to be opaque to the public about why we are selling public land. And many brokers reached out to me from the community saying, it would, of course, love the opportunity to list this property from a business perspective. But as a citizen, why would I do this? I would move myself land. And so they didn't come forward to represent us because they thought it was a fair policy decision. So I cannot vote to rescinding this agreement.
Any further discussion, comments? All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
I,
No. So this will run for another week, and then we'll just, sounds good. All right, thank you, Mr. Griffin, for,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Moving on to tab. The reimbursement request, for the maintenance, maintenance reimbursement request from the operator. They had, prior to the last meeting, got the information in a little later, so we just needed more time. Justification, and they have brought that back to us. So we'll bring it up to the board for any comments. And just so that the total cost of this repair, repairing paving is $42,337.08. The amount requested is $27,337.08.
Requested additional, just to confirm whether it's a statement or an email, just to confirm that this was required maintenance and not due to accident or failure to do maintenance on it.
Those were the added backup documents that were submitted after the last meeting.
Okay. I didn't see that attached to the agenda, but was it just now?
It was, it was emailed, it was also attached
It's attached.
to the previous, which we had.
On page 50.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is where Commissioner Franklin is really smart in all this, because he would always have Rosanna and Barb print out the packet of paper format and wants tabs and highlights. He's fully annotated. Okay, so the comments and observations, that's page 51. It's in good working order, functioning, but the cable needs replacing. So, I'm gonna vote to approve this because I don't want to delay it. But just to explain why I kind of paused the approval of the last meeting is that I would just expect to see like a cover letter or something that says from you all saying, here's our invoices. This is the replacement or why we need the maintenance to be paid. You reference section 2.3, but just a statement that says that this is, what the nature of the repair is, so that sort of put it in context that it's something that we should first payment for. But I don't want to further delay reimbursement because I realize this is pretty.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so do we have any further comments, questions, or motion?
a motion would be authorized.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Nelson, second from Commissioner Hill. All in favor? Business, tab 9, budget review, year.
So I have a huge budget, but it's really the only thing that's changed since we talked was and I don't know if this is approved yet, is the IT agreement. Right, so the 8,135, the various options. And I couldn't find it actually approved, decided what the right, so obviously, other than that, the budget was still the same, I can give you a copy of it now. The problem, like we talked about, the problem is that, and especially if you approve this IT agreement, $8,000, we will have no more carry forward, right? We will use all of our carry forward funds. Potentially even more than our carry forward funds, because again, so remember the carry forward funds depends on the spending in the next few months. Especially, things like legal fees, things like that have been running ahead of budget. So again, there's a gap there that needs to be addressed. So I haven't heard anything. We also have a request for 2,500 from the economic development. Right? So those two requests are outstanding. Again, do we include those in budget? Do we not? Kind of. So I'm looking for direction from you or how you want to address this. We need to address this issue of this deficit in the budget.
The IT group you're referring to, is it based on the website?
Yeah. There's two proposals, one for 8,000, one for 7,000, something for 6,000.
I think one was updating the side. So I think one went to, I think it's out to get to the website. The next tab. Yeah, so then obviously,
So the question is, how do you want to give you this? It just shows it's the same deficit. This one completes the full 8,135 for the website. I couldn't remember if it had been approved or not. So I put in the kind of the most page installment, right? But the budget, the deficit really goes down to my estimated budget now, estimate based on the work I did last month, is we would have $36,000 carry here. Therefore, we're past the point that we need to address this somehow. How would you like to address it? How would you what's
so currently 37,000 deficit does not include the 2,500.
Includes 1,000.
So I think goal one, there's a decision there that needs to be made. So I know they're making an increase in that. They're requesting increase. Love to support them, but yeah, knowing the position we're in, there's no way we could do that.
Whatever you do with $1,000. So what? We leave 1,000 or we're going to 0?
Well,
So we have 0, 1,000, 2,500, or essentially the three choices.
I think right now we just try to leave it at 1,000. Make sure that's. I don't know if this is I don't know if this is a request I can link for you to invest more. Or is there something where he's going up? I don't like I'm going to view.
It's not a fee and it's not, it's a request. If we can do the 25, good, I will be all for it, but, you are budget restraints, I would say no, it's, leave another 1,000. Chairman Taylor, I'd like to suggest in the actions of the workshop, where we can go through line by line, especially given the financial situation that it was in, a lot of things with, not a lot of things, but there are a number of things in the budget that maybe if if we were more flush with money, or we do with code grants and that's a sense of that one, but now perhaps don't make nearly as much sense.
Well, I mean, it's hard right now to even. I think yes, it will be a workshop, but in the next tab on here is the website updates that we need from that.
Right.
And so, I think August 27th or August 27th is my suggestion for a workshop that date. I'm looking at 10 only because I know that we agree. Is there shade or?
I did not get confirmation that the date was okay for a shade meeting. I didn't hear back from Mr. Bruce. So, I will have to wait to announce it. I mean, the public knows we are seeking a shade meeting,
Yeah.
but I haven't gotten a good date. I went into September also just to,
Yeah.
knowing we had a hearing on the 27th of October.
So I think we
I'll push.
board, recently, the October 7th meeting, if we can meet at, 5 o'clock, be a little earlier, it runs for a regular meeting, that's fine. We just continue forward. Pierre, is that good with you? I am at 5:30.
So she's saying, that for the, this is sort of.
It's the fourth Wednesday.
Well,
And I also have to check with the PEC Center if the auditorium is available.
there's one meeting at 6.
Yeah,
Yeah, part of it, that she someone bought that.
Yeah, when is our project for what happened?
I'm gonna really, the real report, it's, no, well, you're not going to be examining like that, so it's really.
Right.
Obviously, the fiscal will start October 1st, so, yeah, that's when it should be approved by, but yeah.
Yeah, it would be good to go into the next operating.
Well, it's not, one, yeah, it's what you expect.
so Chair, on 8/27 is a tentative for a workshop at 5 p.m. And then the public meeting at 6.
Well, the regular business meeting, yes.
Got it, thank you.
Step 9, web designer update. I do a sentence in 54 minutes or so, however long it was, watching the call that Rosanna sent out with Civic Plus. And so I know we've heard from Ms. Bolster, which is updates, which update to her plan, and then Civic Plus. So you now have a proposal from them. So we need to kind of dive in and are these the two options that we're looking at, and what's the best direction to go? And Rosanna, correct me if I'm wrong, when I was reviewing the Ms. Bolster, email she sent, the update was, I think it was 13,000 up front now, and then roughly $3,000 annually.
This is for Civic?
This Bolster.
Oh.
She was at our last meeting.
Oh, Miss Osborne.
Yes. And then Ms. Bolster was approximately 9,000 up front, and then 2,500.
Miss Osborne gave three Ms. Osborne gave 3 different scenarios and proposals, and then Civic Plus gave just the one. Mhm. So,
Roughly 9,000.
right. So perhaps at the workshop we could.
Well, yes, there's a. Yeah, I think that way to go forward to, so we can make sure that wherever we go, we're providing exactly what it is. And basically, reviewing it, looks like they're both going to provide, the ADA.
ADA.
Compliant. Do you have any comments or questions, Mr. Moore?
Yeah, I've been involved in both of the discussion process with the city first and with this Bolster, think the two products. From an end user standpoint, ease of use, from a Rosanna standpoint, correct. I believe they're consistent. So effectively, the difference is gonna be the cost. One is, one is a little more upfront, and, a little less annually, one is a little less upfront and more.
Well, you've got them all once. Was it needs AI rather than this person.
Right.
Generator.
Yeah, the Civics Plus is largely AI or ADA compliance. Ms. Bolster is, her proposal uses, both.
So,
And if the human eye, you're gonna get, a more compliant, this is just my opinion, more compliant, product. Because you know, human set of eyes, whereas AI goes in and just, they missed on the, you know, with the recent changeover to the minutes being reported by AI. AI's earnings good, it's not in terms of but they need, they do a good job, but we get better product from ADA compliance standpoint. Probably with an AI to the human eye.
You say I relations to.
Because this, yeah, after the workshop, we could have the budget, that's it for me. Big factor.
Yeah.
Do we, Rosanna, do you feel like we can be pretty confident in the two proposals that we got, that if we, tried to wait any longer, these proposals would be pretty much reflective of what's out there? Or what do you think?
Correct. And I did speak with a third vendor last year or 2 years ago, Granicus, and that's who the city of Fernandina uses. And their starting fee is $10,000. And when I told them our budget, they wouldn't even really talk to me. So I tried to give you three different proposals. So Ms. Osborne lives here in Ewing. Civic Plus is Kansas, I think. Yeah.
Um, Fair, I know we need to figure out how we fund it, but I don't see it as being.
Right, yeah, I mean, ADA compliance is not option to them, it has to be done, it's just which one best meets our budgetary constraints and also our unique constraints.
Anybody interesting that, one is $3,000 annually, the other is $8,000. Um, Yeah, so my thoughts, we're jumping into this stuff, if we look at it, consider, so we look at these two options, and then come back and during the 27th workshop, we discuss them, Pierre works it in, and maybe you work both ways. And then we go from there, but I 100% agree, this is not an option. We do have other options that you put on the table to help us cover this. Because it's something that we have to do. Any further comments or questions? All right. Tab 9C, the CBP facility projects. An update on that. Roseanne, what was the update that we were?
I yield to Commissioner Moore.
We're having another meeting of the CDP facility meeting for the better descriptor. We have received the grant funding for the planning phase of the project. that the grant funding came in? The what?
No, we're still waiting for the grant agreement.
Right, very good, that's that perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone? Well, we approved the,
Commissioner Moore. All grant, spend the line through. And get reimbursed. One of my answers, so I can say that. Just.
so that's where we are as soon as we get the authorization to start, get the process, get the planning process. The government.
Please go ahead. Tab 9B is the PIDP grant application. Here is scope of work. We have Absent here. That's who your presentation on it, Ted. Do you want to kind of kick this off?
Yeah, so where we're at, I think everybody's aware of the deadline to submit for a grant. As I said in previous meetings, my opinion was the best chance for us to get some real things done at this board was to apply for a PIDP grant under the small project provision, if you want to call it that, capped at 11.25 million. And it also allows us to ask for 100% funding. Given the relationship with Atom, that they're an approved vendor with y'all, and the short time frame, I elected to engage Atom. I want to thank them for their time. We spent a lot of time on the phone trying to get things together. And basically, I'm not an engineer, but I know ports. And I basically told these guys, I said, listen, the critical issues are we haven't had job in order since 2019. So if anything, the doctor's number one in the port, right? Like we can't have problems there. Number two, we have a pretty major flooding problem, which, I think we can all agree it's going to continue to get worse. So those are my two. And I said, if by some miracle there's money left over under that cap of 11.25, we'll probably re-roof a building. So as I said before, my goal with launching this grant campaign is for the resiliency of the port long term. And, we're not asking for new forklifts or new toys or anything, or a new office or anything like that, right? So that I hope you all agree with me. I would just, before I hand over to Atom, we know what the problems are, but when I dug into this further, there really is no scope defined, like how do we fix it? That I know, right? So I think it's critical today that ask away these the subject matter experts, but I do think it's critical that we approve the path forward today. It's a significant investment for us, but I hope it shows our willingness to invest in the port for the long term. So with that, I'll field any questions, and then we can bring the experts up to speak further.
Comments, questions for Ted? All right. Here. Welcome again.
It's good to see everyone. I'd like to introduce our structural engineer, Douglas Clinton. He'd be part of our project here. He's an important part of our company. He's one of our best structural engineers. He's based in Charleston. So he doesn't want to work on the cranes and the ports, etc. Basically, what we're doing here is providing all the information to put together a port infrastructure development grant for relay. And we've got, I think if we scroll, we can see the pricing on this, but we put together a package. We have grant writers. We have PIDP experience with the grant writers.
That's the rate schedule. When you go to the
The bottom, there should be a letter from us, maybe.
This is a letter. This is your.
Here we go.
know what you're looking for?
This is it,
Okay.
right here. $123,500 is for to prepare the port infrastructure development grant.
This port will look very well for a port infrastructure development grant. It's a small port. It doesn't have a lot of funds. And our experience, most of our PIDP grants throughout have been up in the Northeast. But I prepared a port infrastructure development grant and it's for Palm Beach. I'm very familiar with it. And then I initiated that. We won a 50-50, 11.5, 11.5 funding. So we're familiar with how we do it. We're familiar with how to go to the grants. This is an excellent port to present this proposal for the PIDP. It's what the small port world was meant for, this kind of port. You can see our chart is to put this thing together. I can read a little bit here. It's $123,500. That would be everything, including getting this package out, signatures,
including the grant.
including all the
Yep. I just want to make that clear. So Adam's going to do a church for us. And just to give my opinion more, I mean, I thought with the time frame, we kind of have to, define the problem, scope, budget, and write at all the same time. So there's really no other way than to use one top to bottom firm that's vertically integrated to get it done. So
appreciate the confidence you have in us. That's why Doug and I are here. Doug and I are here to start the process. We'll be out in the field, assuming everything's approved tonight. We'll be out in the field tomorrow, starting with looking at the drainage and doing some very detailed inspection on drainage and design. We have Callaway Marine Technologies coming in. The last time your pier was inspected was in 2019. As an engineer and as our structural engineer, things are a little scary over here sometimes when you look at it. There's broken piling, there's piling that don't attach to the top, but there's a lot of redundancy in the pier. So the pier's safe. First thing that's going to be done is Callaway Marine Technologies will go through an inspection. And further goal here is to look at approximately 500 to 1,000 piles. When they pick those 500, they're going to be bad ones. They're not going to waste much time on trying to do a lot of inspection on piling that are in very good shape. The piling in very good shape, you can see pretty quickly. Piling that's damaged, you start to know damage, and then as you look at the piling, you find out there's more damage in other areas around the piling. So that's what we would be doing with Callaway Marine Technologies. I've worked for Callaway Marine, I've worked with Callaway Marine, probably the best underwater inspection companies that I've ever seen in the United States. There's some biggers, there's some smaller, these guys know what they're doing. I can answer any questions that you have about it, but the goal is to get you a PIDP grant at the $8 to $11 million range and get some money for this board to do what they need to.
So the price for that includes the catalog book.
Yes, that's it.
yeah, so we're getting sort of a freebie in there. We'll have I mean, what would you say? I mean, I'd say 5 to 7 years you should have divers in on dock.
You certainly should. South Florida Water Management inspects all of their structures throughout the Everglades every 5 years. And that's the program that both myself and Callaway have worked on. South Florida Water Management is like every 5 years.
Yeah.
And that's just about the time we're in right now. We can get over that. But this is going to be a very detailed inspection because we're developing everything we need to put together this port infrastructure development grant.
Yeah, Commissioner Moore, I'd add to that. I mean, it's good that we're getting an underwater inspection like this. And then furthermore, the elephant in the room, if you will, flooding, right? And so these guys kind of really get to the root cause and what can we do to fix it. So I mean, I feel confident we're going to win a grant, right? But yeah, but if some reason we don't, yeah, we can get a positive. We get some really good data, and we get a pathway to solution, which I think is important.
Or comments from the it's a time is it's significant investment. So I certainly appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah, looking at it, yeah, it's great. Just wanted to thank you, for, if anybody has any questions for him, appreciate you coming to the meetings.
I'd say a lot.
Hope so.
As part of the boards of TVO, in Smart Florida, there is an effort to bring together technology companies to solve infrastructure problems and reduce costs for inspections. And have you ever worked with a company called Navigator?
No, I've heard the name that I have worked with before.
Okay, yeah, so their drone technology is,
Oh,
it can swim and fly. And basically, I mean, they did a pitch in front of the TPO board and they showed the cost of divers and boats and the day that it takes to assemble and bring divers, bring the boat highway. And then they showed the drones swimming and flying and they said it's much cheaper. So I don't know if it seems like that's at least worth exploring. If you can illustrate that you're working in partnership with other grant making organizations like TPO, FDOT, like they try to leverage existing tools to sort of cut costs. I think, it doesn't mean that we can't maybe take that funding and use it for something else on the project, but I think it's at least worth to call to see if it can be helpful.
Did they use this technology to inspect piers or?
That's
Really?
exactly what's going on. Bridge pilots.
It's kind of a very interesting thing. They use cameras for drones and, but they also use ground penetrating radar. It's a great tool for identifying abandoned, great tool for basically mapping out, the above ground and below ground infrastructure of, the port through your street, through the city, or whatever it's being used for.
So it can swim and fly autonomously, the waves and wind. It's pretty amazing. You see it like in action. And Flight 11 has been out before, because we qualified for funding, for our traffic study in Middle Street. And so he's been to before, he's aware of some issues and happy to, connect him to you guys as part of this effort. I think, you're putting forward a grant application, especially for like PIGP, which we applied for before, and it was just so you may know through Googling, but the PIDD grant was a little scandalous. Also, we applied for it because we submitted 2 separate grants to the U.S. Department of Transportation, and the operator submitted the grant applications without overseeing them, and we requested copies of grant applications being not provided. And so it was an embarrassing situation. So to have like a more collaborative, a better process this time around, like we just want to be thoughtful about what we're presenting and we want to be successful. So when you show on your application that you're in line with what you've said to TPO and what you've said to the Florida Works Council, what you've said to FSTED, this is a resiliency effort. We've got all these studies. Here we're partnering with Smart North Florida, we're trying to cut costs. All that's like win. So
we'll certainly be looking for wins.
yep.
Yeah, I would envision, I mean, I think it should just be an ongoing agenda item, and we get the board updates every 2 weeks. So
Certainly.
like every 2 week status update, you think that's
So Lord, this application has to be by the 10th of September. It will be in before that. So we have an aggressive approach to it. That's why Douglas and I are here to start the inspections. Callaway may give me a call tonight and we'll be diving in the next couple of days. I've been working with you on I know you're coming up on a busy week in another 5 days or so. Callaway may want to try to slip in and get some work done ahead of time so they can get a handle on it. One of the things about the remote sensing is how much a device can't go in there and make decisions. When we've got our divers in there, these divers have been doing this for a long time. When we see a crack, we chip it over to find out how big it is. When the water's dirty, we have techniques to be able to put a plexiglass box around the damaged area and pump clean water in it and take a picture so you can see a picture of the water might be perfectly muddy. Lots of tricks that can be done. And especially with Callaway, they've been doing this for 30 years right now, 25 or 30 years. So they're one of the most experienced, and they're certainly the go-to company for South Florida water management. Even though South Florida Water Management hires about 3 or 4 underwater inspection companies, these are the guys they bring in with the toughies.
Just so you know, we have the cutoff point for you went into the zone, so, and we're gonna need some time ahead to review this.
Certainly.
Because we are the entity applying this in the grant.
We'll be funneling everything to you as it comes to us.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt. May I ask a question? So what is your plan, knowing you have the short window, because I'm sure you have a date, is submitting that application on the deadline date? And I don't mean that in a
Submitting it by the 1st of September.
by the first of,
Our goal,
that's your goal.
because we don't know what could happen in the next 10 days.
Okay,
But if we have to hand deliver, we'll hand it.
I understand. I've been there. I just wanted to, just in terms of dates and our schedule, this board has to approve that application. And so.
Okay.
Okay, so
Sure.
we can, we don't do that often. We can call a special meeting if we need to, but August 27th is the last meeting of August, which if you want to get this in on at the 1st of September, because I believe our next meeting is September 10th is the actual deadline. If you want to get this in, you would need board approval and ask on August 27th. Now, one thing I will say, I'm just thinking of the what ifs, okay? There's a lot of information that goes into this. If for some reason, and I'm not saying for the board to endorse any applications at this time, but if for some reason an application was submitted, right, and you all said, we're not gonna be, we have to get this in, I don't know, sometimes after, and you had more things you had to put in that application. That once you submit an application, I'm not saying this is ideal, but you can withdraw it too. So if for some reason this board in the first meeting in September 10th said, we've really had a chance to look at the completed application now. I know you had to send it in, but this isn't something. I mean, I'm just trying to think of alternatives that we're running up against. It's just another month, really.
It's a very kind of.
I think we should go ahead and try to get something for like September 3rd or move a meeting or look at doing, because I just know what's gonna happen. We all, this is a big lift. And so that I appreciate it. Like,
Oh, no,
like
it's a
best case, August 27th, you're here presenting the final, but Murphy's Law. So, I mean, are we committed to, we could call a special meeting if we had to?
So they could do that on the 27th.
Yeah, so I think, but right now.
Yes.
So we can begin the process.
Yeah, and if I might explain just the continuing contract and why, I mean, besides you all wanting to know what's happening on the property. So the Aptum contract was approved by OPA as a continuing contract. And forgive me for saying this, right? We have an engineer on call. I don't mean that in any cheap way or anything. We have an engineer on call, and that engineer on call, based upon what he said, I suspect, at the meeting when he presented, piqued Ted's interest. And Ted said at this meeting, a couple of meetings ago, that he was looking for some grant writing help so that we could get some real muscle. And I know Davis Bean has been helping, but you were doing that. And so this seemed like a good fit. So Ted is wanting the operator pays 100% of this work order, right? Okay, so that's what you're approving tonight too. I'm saying that on the record. And this work order comes under the contract that OPA has with Aptum, so that everybody understands, but the operator is going to pay these bills, which is allowable too. So the only thing that I would say is, because this is under OPA, we need to see all of the invoices. We don't have to do pass-through payments and reimbursements, but we need to see them.
Okay.
We've got
I think
to.
this should be part of the every 2 week up, full transparency flushing.
Well, the public records provisions, so yeah, they all apply still. The contract is in force, and this is work under that contract with OPA. So, yep.
Our goal is to get this to the grant writer as quick as possible. There's about we figure between 100 and 150 hours grant writing. So
Just the fact that there's a
we want to
yes
get that-
person out there,
Yeah,
just the fact that there's a yes person that's willing to do the work in this short time.
So theoretically, how soon before the meeting, the 27th, we meet each year, so we'd like to have it, so meeting prior to, but if we got it a couple weeks before, it's good to extra time to look at it, so then we can hash out any questions, concerns on the 27th, that way we're not, the call is not getting, but certainly it could, meet.
so I,
Can I add a question?
Yeah,
So it's gonna be,
we're gonna be sharing information really daily with your tenant, so it's, everything's gonna be available, it's wide open, and it's gonna be fast tracked.
so what about like we may even want to do like a weekly information packet to pass along to the commissioners? Can we do that?
Yeah, we can do that. I noticed.
I mean, I'm sure y'all.
Yeah,
So
I think we do a weekly visit and let you look at where we're at, that way if you see something that we know,
There's nothing wrong with, extra information.
certainly doesn't.
yeah, and
No,
you,
as long as we're doing all this work, the least we can do is give you the information as fast as.
Okay,
and you would just send, obviously to Ted, but send a copy to Rosanna and then she'll distribute everything to the
Sure.
board.
yeah, I think that works.
Yeah, so because it's a competitive application process. The application is not subject to FOIA requests and FOIA is a federal public records statute or regulation, and then we have the sunshine law, which is set for open. So whatever communication we send out that is specific to our application, it's just want Tammy to sort of bless that process and manage those communications. And that's okay. Offer maybe getting results, additional fees. But I think if you might want to do, you're going to do weekly updates with the other weeks. Budgets. Okay.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah,
And so just want to budget accordingly.
right.
And
And the FOIA provision that you said that is this in the grant stuff?
so Mara, when we submit our grant, they will not release, my understanding, anyway, giving people advice. But my understanding is that they will not release the packet to requester, the technical information.
Right.
Application, they will
Yeah.
not release that to after the grants awards have been.
Understood. Okay.
But all of the other communications in this body are subject to public records requests.
Of course.
In Florida. And so we would have to timely provide those records or provide a law exemption, which there may not be under Florida law, even though there is one.
Mhm.
That's for you to know. I don't know. So I would just caution that while the
Appreciate
board needs to be aware of what is in the final application and approve it, I would not suggest to publish it in advance, at least not far in
Gotcha.
advance of the application.
I will look at that. Thank you.
We'll take our lead from you on that.
Perfect. Perfect. In the meantime, really what it is that you are welcome to send to Rosanna and me, and obviously Ted. But what this does is say what we would publish with an agenda packet, and also what we would disclose if there was a public records request. So I'll do the research. So go ahead and send away, and then I'll make the determination whether or not any information is confidential under the FOIA Act, the federal FOIA. And I'll explain that too, because most of the time, if you do have to claim an exemption, you have to state your reasons why. So if anybody did claim it, I'd have to know that. So I'll share that with you as well.
You might be much more straightforward.
No, it's just good to know. I mean, I always look at the grant applications, so I'd go and look at this and it may be cited in there, and that would have gotten me going. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, I have a question. Will you procure the support letters from like a senator, or do you want the board?
If we're looking for support letters from a senator representative, that might be best done by.
I see, Dave's being right.
Well, we have a
And I did ask,
install retained for sale.
I did ask that
Sounds
before.
like right up there, Alan, so.
Alright, so we do need, yeah, we do need, this is an act on us, we need a motion to approve the scope of work and to also.
Chair Mayor, yes, motion we approve the applicant's scope of service dated July 23rd, 2025.
Do we have a motion from Commissioner Moore?
Second.
A second from Commissioner Paul? Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you very much. We'll see you out.
Yeah, let's get busy. Let's fix this thing.
Alright, moving on to tab 9B. This is a resolution, 425 for launching state appropriation funding for the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol facilities. I'm going to read the resolution for the record, and then we just need a motion to approve this. This is a resolution of the Ocean Highway and Port Authority of Nassau County, Florida, expressing gratitude to the state of Florida for the appropriation of funds for the construction of the United States Customs and Border Protection Facility at the Port of Fernandina Terminal and providing for an effective. Whereas the Ocean Highway and Port Authority of Nassau County, Florida, OHPA, is a governing body responsible for the operations oversight. And whereas the Port of Fernandina serves as a critical gateway for international commerce, supporting the economy of Nassau County, the state of Florida, and the nation. And whereas the construction of the United States Customs and Border Protection (USCBP) facility at the Port of Fernandina is essential to enhance port operations, improve security, and to facilitate the efficient movement of goods. And whereas the state of Florida recognizing the importance of this project has appropriated funding in support of the construction of the USCBP facility at the Port of Fernandina terminal. And whereas this appropriation demonstrates the state's commitment to the growth of Florida's ports, economic development, and national security interests. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Ocean Highway and Port Authority of Nassau County, Florida, that the Ocean Highway and Port Authority hereby expresses its sincere gratitude to the governor, Florida legislature, Senator Stacey Clay Yarborough, and State Representative Dean Black, and the Florida Department of Transportation for their support and appropriation of funds for the United States Customs and Border Protection Facility at Port Fernandina. The authority acknowledges this vital investment as a significant step toward enhancing trade, security, and economic opportunity for Nassau County and state of Florida. And this resolution shall become effective upon adoption. I also want to just thank David Dean for his efforts during this funding. It was looking at a $2 million ask, came in at 350,000. Just happy to be in there and going to get some good money to kick things off and move forward. So, Davis, thank you for your effort. Do you have any comments, questions, or action?
I have a physical comment. Would like to call out that it's Governor Ron DeSantis. If that's okay, if we just make that change, since we're naming our mostly delegation.
Add the governor's name on there.
Yes.
Okay.
And I agree. I really appreciate the fact that, you know, we advocated and we asked, but really this Tallahassee, including our chair, Chair Taylor, going visiting our legislative delegation. And I hope that we can get, the senator and representative out of court to see our resident ospreys and to see goods in motion, maybe perhaps with a busy day, we can have some ships in tour. I know that they do visit this area. I know the governor likes flying in out of the Fernandina airport. So next time he's in the region, heading to Jacksonville or to kind of have a little swoop through, or the thank you for preparing this resolution. I'd like to make a motion with the update to adopt this resolution.
We have a motion from Commissioner Hill.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Moore. Any further discussion?
I would like to commend Karen for correcting his error at the beginning. He called the United States Customs and Border Patrol, but I see in the resolution that you corrected it to United States Customs and Border Protection. As a former CBP agent, get a little bit of hard for them sometimes. You should know the United States Customs and Border Patrol. So I do it.
I will work to do better. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
That was AI.
Uh,
That was AI.
And then, tab 9F, the estate security letter. This is also an action item to have. And he was saying this, I know, David's like, can we read on this? Would you like to speak to it?
Thank you, Chair. Before you have, I know we talked about it previously, it's a next step to the FDED Council for the Security Grant. This information comes from the application that you all approved a month or two ago. But in talking with FDOT, the official way to ask is through a letter. So FDOT actually provided a template for this letter, so we just took the information. I will put it up here, but wanted to go through the official process. The only thing I will say on here is in the example letter that we were given, who it was from, it was signed by a board director. So I don't know if the board just needs to decide whether it's the chair, it just states the whole of the board. But then you also have the documentation with different quotes for the project. So that's the information there, and then the private operator providing the matching funds on this grant.
Or your comments, questions?
Yeah, so this is, very well done together. I don't think that we should come from the having worked somebody. Well, yeah, I think that's been great. It's long overdue. We've had, the security company and operator, they really struggle with case and, have very much in support of seeking this funding.
Any further comments or action? We'll need to get, we'll just from, just go to our board. Sorry. Actually,
Make a motion for.
I second.
the motion from Commissioner Hill, second from Commissioner Moore. All those in favor?
Aye.
Think Davis?
Okay.
All right, as we begin the meeting, I do want to discuss possibly canceling the August 13th meeting. However, the reason is I'm not gonna be here. We can either cancel it. Vice Chair considered a lot of items that we haven't really put on the 27th meeting, but only that to the board to really make that. You
I thought Rosanna also had conflicts, did you? No, okay, sorry.
So we will cancel the meeting on August 13th. We'll reconvene on the 27th, and even more reason to have a special meeting. Board Commissioner items, let's go around the table real quick. Commissioner Moore.
I'm collecting,
Yeah, I did want to say a few words about, meeting we had this week with the finish. Yesterday, my days are running good. So we went out of court and, they provided a single page. This wasn't in time for the agenda packet, but I will give this to Rosanna. She has to speak well, if she can certainly. But we understood the scope of your project, which is a terminal optimization study. The goal of the study is to better understand the traffic patterns before community and Main Street and identify areas of investment in technology, software, data-driven solutions to improve efficiency within the existing infrastructure. This is really where TEO can shine, where we are space constrained, we can optimize and be more efficient. They can take with video footage and using AI and different technologies that are emerging, building, and has community found feasible in the last few years that they take existing infrastructure and they are able to collect that over a period of weeks and then within a few days analyze it and give you the actionable information. So the plan is there to be public outreach for the fall of 2025. They're going to have a draft document for review in March 2026, and the final document for publication posting will be June 2026. And again, this is not going to impact our budget. This is we're leveraging that great relationship with TPO and these are smart. So just just Travis and Ted, I'm really happy this is moving forward because like efficiency is like it just makes me smile. I don't know.
Is there a ask, like, are we gonna, is it a contribution from us, or?
No,
Okay,
but that's again, that's where this is really beautiful because the transportation planning organization is a regional tool that they approve that does budget. And I'm a member of the board, I'm one of two representatives to Nassau County, and the funding is allocated based on rooftops. So as Nassau County grows residents, then we will see more funding, but relative to the other three counties, we are tiny. So we have to wait out every 5 years to get a major impactful project rather than have piecemeal. But for as far as transportation projects go, ports are for a small amount of infrastructure are very impactful and go wrong, as you'll know. And so that's why we are able to get this funding and hopefully solve a problem that frankly has been on our agendas. If you search back through open meetings from like the 90s, the queuing issue on Day Street is old as our location. So it's long. But yeah, so the study is picking up. I appreciate your very professional representation. I appreciate that Virginia was here for the meeting. Travis was there. It was good meeting. So hopefully we'll have more good news to report. And I also wanted to recognize Commissioner Franklin, who just I get a little emotional when I think about it, but I really didn't get to know Commissioner Franklin that well. I'm sad that I didn't, but that's commissioners on board, you don't get to see that kind of sunshine. But serving on the board with Commissioner Franklin was really was an honor, and he was a humble man. He was a decorated war hero, and he didn't brag about that. He loved to talk about his family. He was a very successful businessman, but he never bragged about his business either. And he would come to the meetings well prepared with an agenda packet that our administrative managers printed for him in hard copy every meeting. And he had in his binder and kept all of his binders at home, tabbed out. And he was always well prepared. And he was often the only vote. So I first met him as the attorney, and he was the only vote on the board against decisions. Oftentimes, because he would say, "This doesn't make business sense," or "I'm not getting the backup I need." And so I know that he caused the board at the time a lot of additional discussion maybe they didn't like, and the operator certainly persisted, and he and in retrospect, a lot of the things he objected to ended up being decisions the board approved because he didn't ask any questions. He was really a courageous man. You could tell that he was representing his constituents. He was serving with a really servant mentality. And I know his death was sudden for his family. I lost my dad suddenly, and so I know how much it meant to me to have expressions from the community from people who saw a facet of my dad that I didn't see. And so I may have overshared on social media. I apologize if I did that, but if you have a story about Commissioner Franklin that you remember positively about him, some activity in your life or experience, please share that with his family because those stories still make news. Thank you.
Vice Chair.
In short, I do echo your comments on Carol. He was a gentleman, to say the least. He was a mentor and a friend to me. I remember when, he and I had a conversation, about the, District 4C. And he told me straight up, he said, uh, if you're gonna run, I'm not. He said, I'll support you. He said, because I've known you for the last 12, 13 years. And he said, to be just a guy with a board. And that meant a lot to me because I can tell you something about Carol Franklin on the west side of this county. He was a pillar. He was a pillar of the community. People looked up to Carol. And if they needed something, they knew they could go to Carol and he would give them a straight shot. So he's going to be sorely missed. I'm going to miss going by the shop and him not being there. Because every time I went in and he was in that back office across from his son Greg, he would always holler for him, come on back, Ray, let's have a talk. And I'm gonna miss this. It's not gonna be the same going to the shop and him not being here. So, with that being said, uh, our prayers and our thoughts go out to his family. Um, I work close with some of them, with Greg. Uh, so, it hurts me, that they're going through this. So, all we can do is pray and support. So with that being said, I was out at the court this week checking on some of the things that, Travis and I had spoke about. And I was extremely pleased with the process and with the completion of some of those tasks. Travis, to you, I can say this, everything that you told me that you were going to do, I have seen evidence of that. So I appreciate that, and it's looking good, and I look forward to seeing the completed rail dock and the panels and all being taken care of. So thank you for doing what you said you would.
Sure. Mr. Polk. I can get, heads over and now that's from executive level, you make really awesome. Carol Franklin was very kind in her time. Had the blessing and privilege of knowing him for over 25 years. He and his son Greg and, wife Judy, just fine people, was a very, uh, pillar of the community. He, was a Vietnam vet and served his time there. And he just he was a very good businessman. And he said he would come to the meetings, and sometimes I didn't agree with what he said, but it was in the light of what the topic was about. And he was very vocal about holding our Ford operated feet to the fire on many occasions. So, he will be missed, but he was a very fine gentleman. Prayers for his family.
It's a great meeting tonight. Thank you all for joining us. And yes.
Yeah, sorry. I gave you a hard copy of another maintenance request. I don't, obviously, we're not going to vote on it today. I just wanted to give you all the information. You'll have it electronically as well. So just trying to do due diligence. This is for train, repair train nine, yeah. Pretty major repair. So, if you, I know this is kind of not the most efficient way, but if you have any questions passing through the Rosanna, we'll try to answer your concerns, questions, and before the next meeting, that I would humbly ask you to grant the request. So, because unfortunately, I won't be here. Travis will be here the next meeting. So, if you'd like me to, I can probably get Phil here, maybe, and he knows the port pretty well and the currents and beyond. So, maybe
Are you
just give me the tools.
7th?
Close up the topic.
Then, because that's our next meeting, Tuesday the 13th.
Okay. I mean, it's 6th. I won't be on the 6th.
Our meeting is the second Wednesday, and the
Uh,
fourth, I think there's 5 weeks. It's weird in
All right,
August,
so when's next week?
August 27th.
August 27th. Okay, well,
Plenty of time.
plenty of time to look at it. Yeah. Well, I'll see you then.
Thank you for bringing up attention, failed to mention, you did, as you know, that from back. That's what could not get it on the agenda because of the delayed timing of it, but again, this, so we just get that back information. Hold up the variance, with justification or anything, we can certainly review it. Again, thank you all for the great meeting and thank you all for the kind words for Commissioner Carol Humphrey, seemed to pray for his family, or his entire family. And, seriously.